Hello, my name is Andre V, and I'm the founder of Parcel Central. Today I'm here online with Peter Ronda, talking about Post and Parcel Expo aftermath 1 week after. So, hi Peter, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. It was it's been nice to have a week without too much work and too much. So it was great to see the trade show, but it was also great to come back and have some reflections and so on. So nice.
Absolutely. I took last Friday also a Köln visit where there was a
Ah,
office trade show with office lockers. I visited more than 20 office locker manufacturers there. So I deserve the rest on Saturday for sure.
yeah, me too. It was a lot for
Okay,
me.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but we did a wrap up also in the Amsterdam very short wrap up. We had some shared some views there. But now, when we started the discussion here before the recording, you said that you changed your mind in some topics. So time, little bit settle up your emotions. Could you
Yeah.
share it immediately, or?
Yeah, of course I can. I think one of the things that I noticed or have been reflecting on is the lack of surprises. I would say there were not that many new products, and the products that were there, a lot of them were you can say old wine on new bottles. Maybe it's because that's what the market wants. I don't know 100% on that, but I noticed that there was a lot of things that we are also going to do this and this and this and this, but the products were not there yet. Some had, of course, were introducing their earlier launched products. They showed them here, but they were launched early in this year. So that was good to see. But I also think there was some companies that where I was quite disappointed on their on what they have done in the last 1 or 2 years, I would say. And then I was
I
also lacking on the software side. I think there was a lot of focus on hardware, and it was, and that's of course also good. But there was not that much on software. I would have loved to see even more on software.
I definitely agree on that with you, but I think that there were still some big new things, and for me, actually, I didn't notice it at the expo, but also as you, after digesting what I got there, I think that actually this was a revolutionary year. It was a totally breakthrough of out of home delivery into the mainstream. Before that, out of home has been there, but has been sort of younger brother. I think this year, out of home was on the very central position of the whole expo, and for me, this is a major breakthrough.
I think I haven't thought about it like that, but I think you have a point there. Also, because a lot of, if you look at it and think a little about it, a lot of companies also now start to realize that they have out of home is not only lockers, it's also PUDO, and also how to include PUDO and APMs into the same. Before that, it was more about it's either PUDO or APMs, but now it's more out of home is both, right? So I think you have a point there. It that was true. A lot of companies had this software for PUDOs available, and also other things for PUDOs. That's true. So it was more on out of home. Yeah.
And again, I hope this is a change in the mindset of the companies also to start putting lockers first, not the second or the supplement things. Because when we're talking about trade shows, they are further looking. They are not about today, but they are sort of stating what will happen in the industry a year or two after that. So I really believe that now out of home is sort of, at least in Europe, gaining the momentum as a sort of industry driver.
I absolutely agree. Most logistic companies are now aware of that out of home is an essential part of their service, right? It has taken some companies a little longer than others, but out of home is definitely something. And also, which I think it will be probably for next year, a prediction is that we're going to see more retail companies present at these trade shows, because retail is going into out of home as well. You see more companies starting to invest into their own networks. You have companies like IKEA, ICA in Sweden, and some others that are going in that direction. And they are doing, both PUDOs, they are doing robots, and they are doing lockers as well. So I think it's true. It's definitely on the radar now.
But okay, if you touch this point already, there is a very good conference called Deliver already that is very retail oriented, and out of home companies are also present there already. So that brings me to the discussion about Post and Parcel Expo concept as such, because this exhibition has years or decades relying on the postal world, National Post Organization and UPO. I see that the importance of postal organizations in the industry is decreasing, and the private companies are taking over, and that's why I do think that the whole event has to sort of rethink the position, the concept, who are there present, who are visitors, all over again,
Yes.
because it has to change, I think.
I agree. I think, as you mentioned also, that there was a lot of companies which were not there compared to last year. Even on the parcel locker side, it was 10 less, I think you said,
Yes.
than the previous year. And I think you're absolutely right. They need to change it towards, for more, say, more segments, to offer their trade show to more segments, and that should be included in retail. I saw the first retailers there. Of course, e-commerce has always been part of it, but I saw some interesting retail companies this year, and I hope they will be able to invite more. And then also, you can say, on the speaker side, and that they also should now start to include more from outside, not only exhibitors that were doing their speaks, but also to invite some of the clever people in retail and in software and so on, to introduce, also to attract some new segments to the show. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and then now week after again, you mentioned already thing you didn't see there. This was also my thought process. I was trying to find out or digest what I didn't see there. And one thing, as you mentioned also, I noticed the missing of software companies, and this was
Yes.
actually screaming. I didn't feel it on site, but actually this is screaming disappointment for me, and I don't know and understand what is the reason for that. Do you have
No,
any kind of
no,
explanation for that?
no. I don't. And I had the same feeling. I was like, the year before there were a few more software companies, smaller startups, and so I don't know if it's because that they go to other shows, but there's a lot of software development going on in out of home. You start to have these companies that are not providing lockers, but only provide the software behind it, and so. And I would have liked to see more of these companies that can support this development in out of home. And also, I think there was a missing of startup companies. I don't know if the entrance fee is too high for companies like that, but I would have loved to see 15, 20 startup companies that would have an opportunity to show their idea or small projects to this kind of, because I know some of them have actually started 3-4 years ago and became very successful. And if you look at one of the companies that like Blockit, which was a company that 4 years ago they were not even there, right? And they were only visiting with a small, did some writing and so on. You saw the booth this year, right? So they should invite more startup companies because they can be successful with the support of these trade shows.
I think I'm in line with you here because I also thought that most probably the entrance fee for software companies who are smaller, younger, and not so well capitalized was too high to participate. But again, this is my guess only. I can't say that, but for sure we both agree that they were missing, and this was a bad thing.
Yeah, I had one idea because I've seen that in another type of industry where you actually have the big companies that are doing a big booth and so on. They could actually, some of the fee that they pay for it was actually given to smaller startups. So they kind of was the mentor for this company or kind of a sponsor, you can say, for smaller companies. But I think they should definitely look into how they do their business. Otherwise, also because next time it's also again in Amsterdam, and I don't know how many people that was not there compared to the year before. But if it's 25% or 30%, then next year probably there is a risk that it will be the same, right? And then it will be a problem. It will be like back in 10 years ago where there was almost no people there.
This is a controversial topic a little bit
Of
because
course.
yes, I also felt that there were less people. So, but talking to the company's president, there were two kind of opinions.
Yeah,
One
I had
said that yes, there is less people, but still all the companies are here. So the other
yeah.
said that I didn't feel anything. So yeah, my subjective feeling was that there was less people, and I think again that this might be in the long run, this might be a problem for the event and also for the industry.
Yeah, but and again, if you attract some new companies like startups, software companies, and maybe even some with the touch into retail or touch into omnichannel more, I think it could be. I still think it's a good event because I think there's a lot of key players there, key decision makers there, right? And it should definitely be kept in with this profile. I think
Absolutely,
it's still a good
absolutely.
event. It's still a really good
I
event.
this is the point we definitely agree. It has to stay as a most prominent event of the year, or maybe in 2 years, because if the development in technology is not so fast, this Orgatech I was visiting is actually in every 2 years. So
Yeah,
maybe this is solution to keep participants' budgets sort of. Be budget friendly and also for the
yeah,
viewers to get overview in every 2 years.
yeah. I agree. I agree.
But let's talk now about out of home and also lockers. As you also mentioned, there were mentionably less locker manufacturers. Last year I counted more than 30. This year more than 20. But still, I think that they were more professional. They were having bigger booth. They were more thought through their presentation there, and they are sort of more mature as
Yes.
industry players. Do you share that?
Yeah, much more. And I think also, you could really see some of the, you can say, traditional companies. They're back on the market, like a company like Keba and also Modern Expo. You still see a very big, very nice booth from their side. You see that some of the smaller players 3 years ago, which were almost not there. You see Blockhead, Arca, they are becoming really big players in the business. If you look at their booth sites as well, and with the announcements that they are doing, so I think it's a much more mature market or supplier market for this now. But also they're still very different. I would say they're still very different on their hardware side. Of course, the functionalities. Everyone now has a battery-driven locker. Everyone has, most have the standard lockers as well. But in general, they're still different, and design wise and so on. So there's still you can still be choose a different product. Of course, the functionality is becoming more and more aligned, but that's of course natural because of that. The market is starting to listen to what the customers want, not what we want to sell to the customers.
Yeah, but I think you agree with me also that this was the year of autonomous lockers. So this was
Yes.
the central part of the every exhibit. There were only counted the traditional lockers present, and everything was on autonomous lockers. And I agree with you that a lot of them are still looking their looking their composition, looking their peripherals, looking their software. But this is a natural state of immature industry, and I think the variety helps us to find the best solutions. And actually, I hope that there is not going to be a standard, there are going to be different products for different, I don't know, climates, different agnostic and carrier specific networks, different use cases. So
Yes.
I propose that variety is good.
Yeah, I think variety is good, but I also think there is a need for some of the products to be more standardized. Otherwise, you will be not be the chosen one by the big ones, because the more they go into kind of set in the user journeys and so on to be the same all over Europe and so on, the more they standardize that and the more they get into it, the more the request will come from the customers that they will say, this is what we want. We want with this and this and this functionality, and we want it in this and this and this. Because previously it was more about, okay, we can buy this kind of solution and it can support us. Now it's more like, we want this. So the customers is going to change this in a way. And of course, there will still be some lockers being used for oversized, for luggage, for whatever. So there will still be this difference. But in overall, I think that it's going to be more and more standardized.
I agree with you, and I don't agree with you. I don't agree in the point that I see even more need for standardization, or let's call it interoperability in software side.
Oh yeah,
Software interfaces and connections and API calls should be standardized. What peripheral the locker includes, this is a matter of taste, in a sense that it can be market specific, but what I also see is extremely important is software standardization, or at least communication standardization, how to connect different softwares with different hardwares.
yeah, and I think there we still have that there will be a challenge in the coming years because some companies are very protective on, you can say, their turnkey solution. They don't want to, they don't want to open their system to anyone, and they don't want to be including and so on. And I think that's one part of the market. Another part of the market is going the opposite direction. They will they want to share. They want to work together, be more open-minded on building software together and so on. So I think the market will be split there, and it's gonna. I'm not sure how it will go because you still have some companies which are very protective on their, you can say, their software and hardware, and they are not that open to work with others, right? And it will probably, in some cases, they will win, but in some cases they will lose some tenders because if they're not willing to accept to work with other type of hardware and maybe even to work with one of their colleagues in order to share the same API calls and so, then it's going to be difficult for them.
I do agree. But still, I do see a market for turnkey solutions because there are customers who don't have big IT departments, who cannot develop it by themselves, who are logistics companies, and if they are not very big, they probably prefer turnkey solutions where even they don't need very different hardware. So yes, they may pay a little bit higher price for that, but I think there is a market for that solution also.
Yeah, I agree, but then it will not be the market with the big players. But what a lot of these turnkey solution providers want to do, they want to to get in touch with the big ones, right? All the big courier companies around Europe, right? To have kind of a European or regional approach on it. The problem is that, as you mentioned here, that they are more, maybe more for local companies and smaller companies. So it's going to be they will be more on the mid-size and smaller customers, where the big customers will go for you can say agnostic software in their solutions, because they want to add robots, maybe self-driven cars and things like all these type of things into their software, and then they cannot rely on a turnkey solution. Also because it's becoming more and more data driven. This means that if you provide a turnkey solution where you don't open your solution up to get the KPIs from, for instance, PUDO, then you have two different systems that has to be combined, and so and it makes it difficult for the big companies to get an overview on how are they doing things. It's going to be more and more data driven. Even if we think that everything is data driven today, it is not as it could be. So it will be more data driven in the future.
This is another point where we are in line, definitely, and we haven't mentioned with a single time in this discussion the word AI, and then this was also one disappointment for me, in a sense
Me
that
too. Me too.
logistics industry, we have 2 years of large language models in the market, and we had zero solutions to support logistics industry. But let's say hopefully the tables will turn soon on that also.
I
But
agree.
talking about out of home still and lockers, then there was one thing actually when I mentioned that the autonomous lockers were on the biggest limelight, then not far behind was another word, and then this was an interesting word, and this actually lands in your speciality. The word I heard mentioning a lot and really lot was locations.
Yes.
It's not strange, actually. This is predictable, because when the autonomous lockers are debuting, then they are smaller, and they are meant to be in much uh, bigger scale, the deployments. The location is topic number two in parcel locker industry, from manufacturer side and from the client side. So I think your expertise in a very good spot right now.
I hope so, but I think you're absolutely right, because locations is an asset, just as a parcel locker, right? If you have the asset of a location, then you have an opportunity to place a locker there, and if you can even place it without paying any rent, of course that's better for your business case. So I think that the war on out of home in the next 2 to 5 years will be locations. There will be a lot of talks about it, and there's one specific thing which I think everyone is talking about. Yeah, but we are so afraid we will see these horrible pictures like the ones that everyone shows from Estonia, from a shopping mall where there's a lot of different lockers outside, and people will not have that. And I think they are looking at it from a wrong perspective. It's a matter of convenience, right? And if you can place 15 different companies of lockers in a shopping mall, so be it. That's I think it's lovely, and I think it's great. But of course, you will not see 15 different lockers in a residential area, right? So of course there is a perspective into that. But I really think that this is going to be, there will be a lot of different solutions for it, and in how to get these locations, also because individual laws and regulations and so on in each country. But I think we will see that this will be a topic for the next 2 to 5 years. And a lot of the companies that are working with this haven't even looked at it from my perspective in the right way, because some of course in some areas it's difficult, but it can also be easy if you do it right, and if you plan the right strategy. Otherwise, you will end up in a situation where you can buy a lot of lockers, you will have the need for it, but you don't have the locations, and then the rollout will be slowed, and your business case will not go the right way.
Absolutely. I think, I hope that next year we are going to see several software companies trying to solve location scouting, and not only location scouting, but also fast deployment and
Yeah.
maybe service management, because now we are scaling up in exponential speed compared to the traditional lockers, because the number of autonomous lockers is going to be installed is tenfold the traditional ones.
Yes.
So though the complexity is rising totally. So therefore I hope that the software providers, or maybe some people who visited and hear us now, I think there is a niche in startup to provide solutions
Oh,
for
I think,
locations.
yeah, I think so, and I think still a lot of the companies, they are looking at, they look at locations in the wrong way. To be honest, in a lot of the software I've seen a couple which are extremely good at it. Maybe mostly you can say on getting the locations and monitoring afterwards. A company like Militech, which they are announced as they are part of all the prices that are there. It's a fantastic tool to work with, but they also need to have something else right, because it also has to be connected to KPIs in order to replace and enlarge and reduce lockers in the locations. So I think there's still room for a lot of improvement on software. And I know that some companies have started to look into AI as something that can support it, and I think that will be the next thing we will see.
Hopefully, because I'm a very big fan of technology, automation, and also AI, and on a daily basis using different AI tools. So definitely this is
It will
the
come for
way.
sure.
So let's make now wishes for the next year. So what we see or what we hope next year will bring, and maybe for the organizers of conferences and exhibitions also. So I start. I think that the autonomous lockers are still the thing next years to come, and they are in the center. But again, as we talked already, I hope much more software orientation to the events and from the industry to show the variety of options how to use different hardwares, because again, hardware is secondary. Software is actually primary thing that drives our business.
Yeah, well, what I hope for next year's event is, as you mentioned, hardware. In such a sense that we will start to see some of the other hardware types that is also for out of home, like robotics from Cleveron, like maybe some of these you would say fast delivery companies that are starting to have mini hubs in the cities and so on. We saw them on Leaders in Logistics. So I expect to see more of that. On software side, definitely more than this year. And then I hope that they will also include, you could say, new type of customers to come there, like retailers and omni-channel companies, and so in order for them to see that they can actually automate some of their work today, that where they do it in a PUDO instead, right? So more on click and collect, I think could be great to see, and more retail.
And one more thing I would like to see from the organizers of the events in logistics next year, and this is some kind of soft edutainment or even entertainment, because they are very professional. They are very sort of exhausting events, and some kind of relaxation, whether in form of after party or some kind of study tours around, would be at the place.
Yeah, I'm also that's primarily on, I would say, on. I agree with you here, but also you can say on the site that is in Amsterdam. I think the old they could have done much more on the entrance side, and much more. There could be much more, places for meetings, and where you can sit together with your customers and so on. There is not enough room for that, and I think it could be much more, where you could relax in between and have a conversation. And so I think that there was not enough of that. So I hope to see it even more next year.
Yeah, but anyway, we are not here to bury the
Nope,
Boston
nope,
Parcel Expo.
definitely
We are
not.
trying to make them better from
We'll
our
just give them some
insights. And
wishes, our personal wishes,
exactly.
right? I still think, and to sum up, I think it's the best show in Europe in regards of this, by far, because it's you have much more decision makers there. You have much more people that can give you some ideas of where the market is going, and you also still have a lot of the good suppliers where you can learn a lot. I learned a lot this year on assortment, which is not my field at all, but I was able to get some introduction into this. So I still think it's the most important event in during the year. But
Absolutely.
of course, if it's the best, you always get expected more, right?
Absolutely. So, with that note, I think we will end this discussion here. It was really interesting talking to you. I
Yes,
hope
me
it
too.
was interesting also for our viewers. And let's see next time
Yeah,
somewhere in
let's see.
around lockers.
Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Bye.